Hey y'all, Milkmaid here. So I'm trying to multitask and this is Oscar. Oh God. Oscar. Hey y'all, it's the Milkmaid. I'm trying to multitask right now. Giving this guy some love. Since he has to be confined, he has not figured out yet that he's supposed to stay on the boundaries and scares the living daylights out of everybody. This is Oscar, this is Skeeta. They're my livestock guardian dogs. He looks so stupid. He's an Anatolian Shepherd. She's half Pyrenees, half Anatolian Shepherd. She's a sweetheart, he's an idiot. But the reason for me making this video today was that recently I have seen a lot of kind of misconceptions regarding seeds, seed saving, seed production. Your tongue is on my leg, that's gross. And that kind of thing. And I figured maybe it would be worthwhile to kind of throw a little light on some of these things. Sound effects are great, yeah. So it's going to be a multiple part series. I may be milking for some of it. I may be just sitting here and telling you about it. I actually did take notes. Surprise, surprise. For this one, only because I wanted to make sure that I actually had some like fairly accurate information to share with you. So the topic is seeds, right? And I've seen a lot of people talk about, make sure you don't get GMO seeds, or, make sure that the stuff you get seeds from aren't grown, that are GMO vegetables and that kind of thing. And there's some validity to that, but not as much as you think. So I'm going to jump into GMO to begin with and just kind of go from there, if that makes sense. I hope their panting isn't too loud. It's kind of a hot one out here today. So first of all, what is a GMO? Well, GMO stands for genetically modified organism. And to be honest, that could be not just plants, if people do what they are wanting to do in the future. GMO, though, as most people understand it, is when a company artificially inserts genetic material into the DNA of the plant or the seed that they're going to be selling. And companies like Monsanto, which is now owned by Bayer, and oh gosh, I can't remember the name of some of the others, but they have a vested interest in keeping those seeds not sold to the public, okay? And not kept, right? These dogs. So there are only actually a couple of crops that are approved for genetic modification, like the artificial way, in the US. And I'm going to go over those real quick. That's the notes I took and what those things go into generally. Just got to figure this out. Okay, so back to my point here. That's probably really loud, and I've got slobber on my notes now. The companies that make genetically modified organisms, they have a vested interest in keeping those from being reproduced by farmers. So what ends up happening is that the farmers, and these are big farmers, okay, they sign a contract with the companies agreeing not to save the seeds, etc., etc. The general public does not have access to genetically modified seeds. Hey, Oscar. No. Lay down. This might be scrapped. Or maybe I'll just leave it up for comic relief. So much slobber. So they will sign a contract saying that they won't save seed, right? They have to buy it year after year after year, which is how the company makes profit. Now, the reason that genetically modified seeds became a thing was that they were trying to increase pest and disease resistance, and also create an herbicide resistance in certain crops, like say soybeans, for example. They can spray them with a broadleaf killer that'll kill all the weeds in the field, except it won't kill the soybeans that are genetically modified. Here come the gnats. So that's kind of why they started doing that. Personally, I feel like that is a very, very, very bad idea. You should not be messing with nature like that. I think, there's genetic modifications that happen over time or with plant breeding, but this is something totally different. Sometimes they are injected with the DNA of something entirely different, like frog DNA. Crazy, for this specific trait that they're looking for. So here are the GMO crops that are actually grown in the U.S. Corn. Corn. Now, this is not going to be your like corn on the cob corn that you find in the freezer or on the produce aisle, as at least to the best of my understanding. Stay, good boy. Whoa, waterworks. This is the stuff that goes into processed foods and drinks, and in livestock feed. So your corn syrups that you find in things most likely are genetically modified. Cornmeal, starch, all of that stuff. The corn syrup in your sodas, if you drink sodas. I gave up sodas a long time ago when I figured out how bad they were for you. And I just drink other things instead. Then you have soybeans, right? Soybeans primarily are grown for livestock feed. It's a protein that increases meat production, and so they sell them. But they also put it into vegetable oil. If you look at your vegetable oil, if you buy just like Crisco vegetable oil and you turn it over, most likely you will see soybean or a mixture of oil, or may contain a variety of oils. Those are most likely genetically modified. And also ingredients like soy lecithin emulsifiers and soy protein that they will add to various processed foods. Okay, so moving on, because I don't want this to be too long, because I'll get to why I'm explaining this in just 1 second. Cotton is another genetically modified crop that obviously is made to make cloth, but also cottonseed oil, which restaurants use for frying foods, and also in prepackaged foods. Something to do with texture is why they put it in. Cottonseed meal and hulls are used in animal food as well. Now, it didn't specify whether it was just, like say dog food, or if it was in livestock feed, but that's just something to keep in mind, because I have heard of people using cottonseed meal for like cattle and stuff like that. Potatoes, they're also genetically modified. Unless you buy organic, you don't know. Unless it says non-GMO or organic, it could be genetically modified. Papayas was another one that they did. I think it was for disease resistance, same as potatoes, but try not to have them all wiped out. Summer squash was actually one of the first vegetables to be genetically modified, but the GMO version is not widely grown these days. Canola oil is used for cooking oil and margarine, and also for feed and in prepackaged foods. That vegetable oil, yeah, sometimes it says canola. Alfalfa is another one, and that's primarily used for dairy cattle feed. It has a higher protein content than regular grass, and so that's why they use it. Apples, there are some genetically modified apples out there. And the last one, which I think takes a lot of people by surprise, are sugar beets. Now, most people, when they go to a store and they buy a package of sugar, they're going to think that they're getting actual sugar. It's generally not. If it's granulated sugar, it's probably sugar beets, and most likely genetically modified beets or sugar beets were used for that. So those are the GMO crops that are actually approved for use in the U.S. or growth in the U.S. You cannot get these seeds, okay? As a gardener, you just can't. The reason being is that the companies that create these seed stocks and seeds, they want to protect their copyright on this genetic material. It's a whole nother ballgame. I don't think you should be able to copyright life, okay? But what they're creating is something otherworldly. So when you go to buy seeds and you notice that it'll say non-GMO on the package, that is there for one of two reasons. One, it's a marketing gimmick to try and get you to pay more. Or two, it is a way of assuring you, the ignorant consumer in their eyes, that it's not GMO, because there's just been such a huge pushback, rightly so, against GMOs. All right. And so keep that in mind when you are shopping or spreading information and that kind of thing. The other thing that I would keep in mind is, unless it's something like, say, apples, papaya, or potato, right? Yeah, I guess technically you could grow GMO potatoes if you buy the potatoes from the store and then plant them. I don't. I just buy seed potatoes from the feed store, a lot cheaper. I don't worry about organic, which is why I will go into this in another video. But the difference between organic, of course, is trying to die. I will go into this in another video because I think there's some misconceptions around the whole organic label as well. But I thought I might share that information to kind of reassure people that if they buy seeds that are not labeled non-GMO, that doesn't mean they're GMO. I'll go into, let's see, the topics I'm hoping to cover in this series are GMO versus non-GMO, organic versus non-organic seeds, and then hybrid versus heirloom / open pollinated seeds. And the other topic is saving seeds from the produce that you buy. There's a lot of misconceptions that are surrounding that as well. And the reason I want to share this is not to pretend to be a know-it-all, because I don't, but to maybe get you thinking and looking into it on your own, and to, like, for example, if you're trying to save seeds from produce that you buy, to minimize the chance that you're going to get pretty disappointed if it doesn't germinate or if it doesn't turn out the way that you thought it was, because there's definitely some issues there. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope the dogs weren't too crazy. But they're so cute. Like, look at him. He looks like a kind of scary dog, but he's a good boy. Huh. Are you a good boy? And Gita's, of course, always a good girl. Anyhow, y'all take care, and I'll talk to you later. And if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below. I like having conversations like this because I think that it helps demystify the whole seed thing, and helps us to make, better choices and not have to spend as much money, especially if there's marketing gimmicks out there or bad information. So take care and God bless. Oof. Hey, Oscar, sit. This is Oscar. Oh, God. Oscar. He's a pretty puppy. Are you a pretty puppy? Oscar. You're a good boy. Oh, yeah. He's friendly.